Listen Your Way post-game scoreboard show continues now from the Black Diamond Grill. Thanks for joining us here on listenyourway.com. My name is Travis, and I want to thank Andean Chevrolet, Big Frog Custom T-shirts and more, Talent Brothers Auto Parts, of course, the Black Diamond Grill for having us here, Marathon Oil and Gas Stations here in Forsyth County. They sponsor the West Forsyth Report. And earlier tonight, you heard from head coach Frank Hepler talking about the Wolverines' 36-6 win over Rockmart. We want to round up some scores for you before we go to our guest correspondent. Our game of the week was Lambert hosting South Forsyth, a winner 10-0. The Longhorns were getting a first ever win in that rivalry. Also, it's a region win, so kind of big. West Forsyth the winner, as we mentioned. Forsyth Central coming up short 24-9 at Rome. Etowah defeating North Forsyth 17-6, and Pinecrest Academy at home falling 8-7 to Mount Pisgah. Right now, let's go to the phone. It's our good friend, the Garden Stater, calling from Athens. And Garden Stater, you got some reports for us and some scores of relevance that our listeners might be interested in, I understand.
Brother Travis, thank you for welcoming me to the show. It is always a pleasure to be with Listen Your Way Sports. And I had the pleasure of meeting Coach Sid Maxwell. That's where I want to start with tonight is Lambert Longhorns. Kind of look at the way the entire Forsyth County football is shaping up against the likes of Region 7 Quad A and some of the opponents down the road. You know, it may look like a tough season on the surface, but, you know, there's some other new schools down there. Johns Creek, for instance, was battling Woodland, Bartow County. And, of course, you know, earlier in the season, both teams in Forsyth County have had a chance to play Woodland, if I'm not mistaken, Travis. We've got Woodland is, like I said, 0-3, and they'll be facing Forsyth Central. They've got them next week.
Well, I'll tell you, that's going to be our Listen Your Way game of the week.
Exactly. That's why I wanted to bring that up. Woodland is a neighbor up in Bartow County, and I think some of these new schools opening up, the biggest deal about that is I think that Lambert's starting off 3-1. That's always solid when you're a newer school to start off with the winning tradition, getting the foundation like that. But it's not always that easy when new schools open up, and some other schools there's a dividing of the talent within the county. And I think when it all settles, with Forsyth County growing like it has, I think all programs can do well. Because you look at the South Forsyth season right now. 2-1. It was, of course, their first loss against Lambert, but they went ahead and defeated Woodland and Bartow. And again, some of the looking at some of the action that I've heard of tonight, that Forsyth County is a force to be reckoned with. I spent a lot of years of my background coaching and reporting, and I think that it's safe to say that when the dust clears, sooner than later, that Forsyth County can be a strong force across the board.
I'll tell you what, we had over 6,000 fans there tonight. It was pretty crazy. I can't really recall, maybe for a playoff game, but it's hard for me to recall a high school game where there's actually, you can pay to park in the neighbor's yard. You don't see that a lot at a high school football game, but there were so many fans. I heard 6,300, and some estimates even higher, but I think 6,300 is a very safe estimate.
Travis, that sounds comparable to what we both have seen happen in Gwinnett County, and the likes of a small school, a city school like Beaufort grow up and become arguably one of the top schools in the entire county, and they're right down the road from Forsyth. You see a lot of people moving to outside of 285, and Forsyth County is and of course Georgia 400. Forsyth County is an unbelievable place to go. And 6,500 does not surprise me at all. I know that you know the history of Forsyth County, and it's a huge community that's grown well over 100,000 in less than 15 years.
Well, listen, while I have you on the line, let's go ahead and kick this off. It's a weekly segment we do, and I'm glad you can be here for it. It's the Andean Chevrolet Look Ahead. It's a time to look at our schedule for next week and let fans know what to mark their calendar for. So we mentioned Woodland at Forsyth Central. That's your Listen Your Way game of the week. Also, South Forsyth will be back home as they welcome Cass. We can talk about that matchup a little later. North Forsyth is on the road at Roswell. Pinecrest is at Holy Innocents. We mentioned that. Holy Innocents coming off a loss earlier tonight against Wesleyan. And also, West Forsyth will be on the road at Centennial. We spoke earlier with West Forsyth head coach Frank Hepler as part of our marathon West Forsyth report. You can catch that on our website at listenyourway.com. So we got a full slate as we look ahead on the Andean Chevrolet look ahead. Central welcoming Woodland, and then really looking ahead, Coach, here in 2 weeks, October 1st, Lambert at Forsyth Central. I know coaches like to take the games one game at a time, but as a fan and a broadcaster, I'm looking at 2 weeks ahead here. Lambert is at Central. That'll be an interesting matchup. Bragging rights in the county and the region.
Well, certainly, Travis. Coach Bennett is an old friend. We played rival colleges back in the day, West Georgia versus Valdosta State. But Coach Bennett's going to right the ship there. I think he has a golden opportunity next week at home to get ready for the Lambert game on October the 1st. Rome is always a tough tradition. Chattahoochee has had success. South Forsyth, that's always a battle at the beginning. So, nothing for them to be down about. And again, they've had an opportunity to not have to play Lambert right away, but do what other schools have been able to do, and that's play hard and maybe beat a young and inexperienced Woodland team as it appears on the schedule. They again are struggling.
We'll stand by. We're going to wrap up this segment now. If you can hang with us here, we'll have you for another segment here on the show. Appreciate the Garden Stater, our Listen Your Way football analyst, for joining us. He also back in the spring, he and I covered the University of Georgia Coaches Clinic. Had a chance to talk with Coach Tony Dungy and Coach Mark Richt, of course, of the Georgia Bulldogs. So, Garden Stater, thanks for joining us here on this segment on the Andean Chevrolet Look Ahead.
My pleasure.
All right. Stay tuned, folks. More to come here on the Listen Your Way post-game scoreboard show. We want to thank Andean Chevrolet. Big Frog custom T-shirts have coming. The Black Diamond Grill, Talent Brothers Auto Parts, and Marathon Oil and Gas Company of Forsyth County. You can find information on all those fine companies on our website. Just go to listenyourway.com. More to come here on the show.